everyone. Thank you for joining me for this first Tuesday practice of June. I hope everyone is well and that we can see each other in the studio again soon. For today's practice, we're going to sort of focus on self-love, which is something a lot of us tend to put on the back burner, or something that comes after many other things that we've got going on in our lives. So what we want to start with is get a comfortable seated position. So that might be cross-legged, on a cushion, you may be on your knees, whatever works for you. We're going to close our eyes and bring our hands into prayer pose. We'll start to breathe with intention, noticing your breath. And then what we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 4, hold at the top for 4, and then exhale for 4. And we'll do this for a few minutes. I'll count you through a few times now. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top for 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Holding 3, 4, and exhale 2, 3, 4. And you can keep this breath going at your own pace, counting for yourself. This steady, even breathing is a nice way to calm our nervous system and help bring us into the present moment for this practice, if you're able, in the space that you're practicing today. Couple more rounds. We're going to gently open our eyes, keeping our palms pressed together. And then what I'd like us to do is start to rub your palms together, increasing the speed. And what we're trying to do is create some warmth in our hands. So just really push them together, almost as though you were trying to light a fire there, spinning 2 pieces of wood. And once you feel like they're probably nice and warm, I'd like to take them and place them over your eyes. A nice exhale. Feel the warmth that you've created with your hands, covering your eyes, your head, the warmth from your hands pushing onto your forehead. Breathing here, just resting. And we'll go ahead and gently release our hands from our face. maybe smiling. We're going to roll our shoulders with an inhale up, down the back. See if you can feel those shoulder blades move back down. Inhale, roll them up towards your ears. Exhale away and back. And what we're going to do today at the beginning of the practice is a bit of self-massage. So just taking your hands, rubbing your arms maybe, or your shoulders. Just scan your body and see where you might be holding some tension, where you can use a little bit of self-love. And just taking a moment here, giving our bodies what we might need. Might like to rub your lower spine a little bit. Maybe go ahead and straighten those legs if you've got them crossed, just giving those a bit of a rub. Anywhere you feel tight. Give your foot a little bit of a rub as well. And then from here, we're going to come back down onto our backs. So take as long as you like, really kind of, taking care of yourself here. And then when you're ready, we'll meet on our spine. So if you've got anything in your way, you can shift it. And then once we're here together on our spines, we're going to bring our legs in, give them a nice big hug. And we'll rock side to side. Really starting off gently in today's practice, giving ourselves a chance to move slowly, coming back to center. We're going to create a figure four, starting with your right leg, cross its right ankle over the left thigh, and then taking your hands, feed it through that opening and back around, grabbing a hold of your left thigh if you can. If that's not possible or comfortable for you, maybe your knees or your hips are quite tight, then you could just push gently on that right thigh, getting a bit of a stretch in the hip flexor. This is a good one for your hamstrings if you have been able to grab a hold of your thigh. It's also possible to use a strap. I'm not sure if anyone's got something like that at home that they can use. Feel free to keep your eyes closed or soft gaze. We'll be here for another moment. Breathing naturally. But notice your breath. See if you feel like you're holding it in or not taking full exhales. We're going to switch sides, so slowly release those hands if you've got them through the opening and holding on your left thigh. Uncross that right leg. Just a quick hug of your legs back in. And then we'll switch to figure four on the other side. So right foot's down on the mat, left ankle's crossing over your right thigh. Pull it on up and left hand goes through the opening, right hand behind your leg, and give it a gentle pull. You may notice that this side feels different than the other, and that's quite normal. few more breaths here. You might be able to pull just a little bit closer. Go ahead and release, so gently letting go of that right leg if you've got a hold of it, uncrossing the left. Then we're going to bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall out wide to the sides for Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet are together, down onto the mat, knees falling out to the sides. Placing your hands gently either on your hips or possibly you'd like your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. If you've got that right hand on your belly, you can notice how it moves as you breathe. Go ahead and close your eyes if you'd like. Notice any emotions that might be arising. Pay attention to them for a brief moment and let them pass, and you can focus on breathing, maybe focusing on how part of your body feels, just to help you keep you focused in your practice for today. We're going to go ahead, take our hands, place them outside of our thighs, bring them in together. We're going to rock ourselves up and then come on over into a tabletop pose. So knees are below hips and hands are below shoulders. We'll just start with some gentle cat and cows. So tops of the feet are pressed into the mat. I'm going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone. Lift your chest. Exhale with the breath, pushing into the mat, curving your spine, slowly tucking that tailbone under. Inhale, lifting your chest, drop the belly. Exhale, pushing into the mat. We'll go through a few of these, moving at your own pace with your breath. And feel free to wiggle a little bit here too if you'd like. Maybe you'd like to move your hips side to side. Happy puppy looking over your shoulder. Just making sure you breathe as you move. Once you're all nice and wiggled out, we're going to come back into child's pose. So pushing your tailbone back towards your heels, forehead is coming to the mat. And for this child's pose, we're going to see if we can bring our hands into prayer pose behind our neck. So the way we would do that is once you're down and you've got your forehead on the mat, see if you can bring your hands up and behind your neck. Elbows are still on the mat, just touching each other, palms pressed together. Feel slight stretch in your arms here. See if you can relax those shoulders. Maybe try breathing 4 in, 4, holding for 4, and then exhale for 4. On the next exhale, we'll release our palms, bring them back down to the mat. Fingers are spread wide. We'll rise back to a tabletop briefly, then tuck our toes, pushing that tailbone up towards the sky for downward facing dog. And here, just really give it a wiggle, lifting your heels, bending those knees. Any kind of stretch you feel like. This might be the first downward facing dog for most of us today. And then once we're settled, we're going to inhale the right leg nice and long, keeping it straight up towards the sky. We'll bring it forward for a high lunge. So place it between your hands, and then we'll rise up for a high lunge, bringing our arms up and overhead. Maybe you'd like to place your hands on your hips and check that they're squared towards the front of the mat. Right foot gripping down into the mat, pressing into the toes of that left foot. Shoulders away from your ears. Two more breaths here. Bring the hands back down either side of your right foot. Shoot that right leg back up for a three-legged dog again for a moment, bringing it down to the mat for downward facing dog. Then we're going to inhale the left leg up nice and long. Toes are stretched out. Bring it forward, place it between your hands. Rise up for a high lunge on the left side. Checking your alignment, shoulders again. Two more breaths here. Bring your hands either side of that left foot, shooting it back up for a three-legged dog, lowering back down to the mat for downward facing dog. From here, we're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose. So lower your knees as wide as the mat. I wasn't kidding when I said we were moving nice and slow today. Push that tailbone back towards your feet and lower your forehead down towards the mat. Or if that's not comfortable for you, then maybe you'd like to create a stack with your hands so that your neck isn't strained. Sorry, I've got something on my mat here. I keep picking at things. Here we go. Nice and relaxed. We'll keep breathing here, and I'm just going to read something to you while you're all resting. So, while we're in this quiet space, hopefully quiet for you, everyone, while you're practicing, this is the place that we replenish our energy. So it's in this quiet space that you can return to your breath. Think about your practice for today. And remember that you are enough. Everything that you're able to do is enough. And that's something I'd like you to come back to as we move through today's practice, that you are enough. You do enough. You have enough. With that in mind, let's press into our palms. Start to lift that tailbone, tuck those toes. Push back to a downward facing dog. From here, we're going to look forward between our hands. Step your right foot forward, your left to meet your right. Forward fold, and then we'll very slowly rise to standing. Bringing our hands to our heart center. Then from here again, we're going to inhale our arms up and overhead, looking up as we go. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, placing your hands down to the mat, step back to a high plank. And from here you can lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. If you're lowering knees, keep those elbows, either way actually, tucked in, chest, chin, maybe a baby cobra. And tucking the toes, pushing back to a downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands, we'll step the right foot forward again, the left to meet the right. Forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Bring your arms overhead if you're not too unsteady. Hands to prayer and your heart center. And again, inhale your arms up and overhead. We're going to flow a couple times now. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands on the mat. Step back to high plank. Take your vinyasa and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Moving with your breath as you go. This time looking forward between your hands. We'll press, step our left foot forward, our right to meet our left. Forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Hands down to your heart center. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step or jump back to high plank. Take your vinyasa. Breathing here. Any wiggles that you'd like to get out. Then from here, we're going to inhale your right leg up towards the sky, nice and long. Bring it forward, place it between your hands. We're coming into a high lunge again. So rising up, arms overhead, looking forward. Shoulders are away from the ears. Now from here, we're going to push off into Dekasana. So we're going to start to shift our weight forward as we bring our hands behind us. Just coming onto our right leg as a standing leg. Hips are squared. Arms reaching long behind us. Core is engaged. Breathing here. If you fall out of it, lose your balance, that's okay. Step back up. From here, come back into Warrior Two. So let that left foot drop back down, checking your alignment. So it's at a 90-degree angle. Instep of the left foot is in line with your right heel. And we'll start to bend that right knee, checking that you can still see your big toe. Right knee's not collapsing in. Once we've got that all started, windmill our arms open, reaching equally to the front and the back of the room, or the space that you're in. Looking out over that right hand, feel free to lift your palms, turn them back down, help pull your shoulders away from your ears. Neutral gaze out over that right hand. Then we'll take the left hand, shoot it back down our left leg, right hand sweeps up and over, reversing our warrior. Chest is opening towards the front of the mat. Gaze is upwards if you can. 2 more breaths here. Then we'll windmill the hands either side of that right foot. Spin the left leg back around. Shoot that right leg back up for for 3-legged dog. And then we'll lower it for a downward facing dog. Give those hips a little bit of a wiggle. You'll probably notice that they're feeling a bit different now that we've moved to one side a little bit more. We'll shoot that left leg up, 3-legged dog, bring it forward, place it between your hands, rise up for a high lunge on the left side. Shoulders are away from your ears. And we're breathing here. Our legs are nice and strong, supporting us. Remembering that whatever you can do today is enough. We're going to start to come into Dekasana as we shift our weight forward onto that left foot. Our arms start to sweep behind, right leg comes off the mat. Gaze can be slightly forward or down at the mat in front of you. Breathing here. That left leg is strong, your ankle can support you. Coming into Warrior Two, so that right leg falls back onto the mat at a 90-degree angle. Instep is in line with your left heel. Left knee bends, we can still see that big toe. Our arms are open, looking out over those left fingertips, not pulling too far forward or back, equal in both directions. Shoulders are away from your ears, shoulder blades are pulling down your back. One more breath here. We'll take that right hand as it starts to come down the back of that right leg. Left arm sweeps up and over. See if we're opening that chest as we go. Looking up towards the ceiling. Breathing. Don't forget to breathe. 2 more breaths here. And we'll rise up, windmill those hands either side of your left foot. Step that left leg back for a 3-legged dog. Lower back down for a downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands, we'll step the right foot forward, the left to meet your right, and forward fold. Slowly we'll rise up, bringing our hands just to our heart center this time. And then from here, we'll inhale our arms up, overhead, taking a vinyasa. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, moving with your breath, step or jump back to high plank. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna lower back down to child's pose, so we'll lower the knees to the mat. Your choice if you take a wide leg, child's pose, or keeping your knees closed. Whichever one you take, see if you can get your forehead rested nice and comfortably on the mat. As we're resting here, noticing your breath, think about how you're replenishing your energy. We're going to start to rise up, so pressing the palms into the mat as we come forward, tucking the toes, lifting that tailbone, pushing back to downward facing dog. So from here again, we're going to lift that right leg for a high lunge. Bring it forward, place it between your hands. Again, we're coming up. Hips square to the front, shoulders away from the ears. Noticing how you breathe. Is it labored? If it is, see if you can slow it down. Maybe counting with your inhales and your exhales. We're going to start to shift forward to Dekasana again, so shifting the weight onto the right foot. Arms sweep behind us. Left leg is raised. Core is engaged. Breathing here. 2 more breaths. If you lose your balance like I am, that's okay. Just come back into the pose. We'll come back to Warrior 2, so dropping that left leg, 90-degree angle, checking your alignment. And we're here in Warrior 2. Gentle gaze out over your right hand. And remembering wherever you are in the pose today is exactly where you need to be. We're going to reverse our warrior. Left hand down the left leg, right hand sweeps up and back. lifting our chest. Two more breaths here. We're going to come into an extended side angle, so we'll rise up on the exhale, bringing that right forearm to our right thigh. Not putting any weight there, just letting it rest. Your core and your legs are holding your body up. Left hand sweeps up and over, reaching towards the front of the mat. See if you can open the chest to the side or towards the ceiling. Two more breaths here. And before we rise up, we're going to see if it's possible for us to take a bind. So that left hand can sweep up and behind us. The right hand swoops underneath your right thigh. You may be able to grab a hold of your wrists or your fingers behind you. You may just be resting your hand on your lower back, and your left hand may just be reaching through. You may like to straighten that leg if you've been able to bind. We're only here for two more breaths. Facing the side of the room if you've got your fingers intertwined, opening that left shoulder as we rise back up to Warrior Two for one breath. Windmill your hands either side of that right foot, shooting it back for a three-legged dog, lowering it back down for downward facing dog. Give those hips a little bit of a wiggle over here. We'll swing that left leg back up for a three-legged dog, bringing it forward, placing it between your hands, rising up for a high lunge on the left side. I'm just going to go ahead and switch sides here so you can see everything going on. You can face the camera. Breathing here. Maybe you can feel your heart pounding. Slowing your breath. We're going to push off to Dekasana, shifting our weight onto the left foot. Arms come behind us. Hips are squared. Two more breaths here. And then we're coming into Warrior Two, so that left leg comes back down to the mat, 90-degree angle. Checking our alignment as we windmill our hands open. Hands reaching both directions equally. Our legs are strong. You've got this. Two more breaths. Seems to be the theme today. Two more breaths. Exhale, and we'll take your right hand, shoot it down the back of your right thigh. Sweep that left arm up and over, reaching behind us, opening that chest up. Two more breaths. And then we'll come forward into extended side angle. Exhale. Bring that left forearm to the left thigh. Right arm shoots up and overhead, reaching towards the front of the mat. You're opening your chest towards the side of the room, or possibly facing upwards. Let's try one more breath this time. On the last exhale, bring your right hand back to the lower spine. Maybe you can reach around and grab that left thigh, sorry. Left arm sweeps up and under, and maybe you're able to grab a hold. If you are, maybe you're able to straighten that front leg. Just go wherever your body is comfortable going today. Two more breaths. You've got this. Second exhale, Let's rise back up to warrior two for a moment. Windmill those hands either side of that left foot. Shoot it back up for a three-legged dog. Lowering for a downward facing dog. And again, we're gonna come into child's pose. Also your choice, wide-legged or keeping your knees together. Sometimes I like the feeling of my hips getting a bit more of a stretch in the wide-legged child's pose. Whereas keeping our knees together can be a slightly more nurturing pose. If you've got your knees together, you might like to bring your hands down by your sides, almost as though you're curling up into a ball. Can feel a bit like you're giving yourself a hug here. Wherever you've got your hands, we're going to bring them nice and stretched out in front of you, fingers spread wide. Start to lift your tailbone, tuck your toes, push back into a downward facing dog. Looking forward between your hands, we'll step your right foot forward, your left to meet your right. Forward fold, very slowly rising up, bringing your palms to your heart center. Taking a moment here. Then we'll inhale our arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Take a vinyasa and meet in downward facing dog. So step or jump to high plank if you're flowing with me. Elbows are tucked in. Upward facing dog. And pushing back to downward facing dog. From here, we're going to inhale the right leg up. Nice and long again. Bring it forward, place it between your hands. This time we're coming into warrior two. So spin that back left foot to a 90-degree angle. Checking your alignment. And breathing here. Shoulders are away from your ears. Fingers are reaching. Nice and strong. If your fingers can feel strong, spread them nice and wide. And we're going to reverse our warrior. So left hand sweeps back down that left thigh, right hand up and overhead. Not holding it quite as long this time. We're going to come forward to extended side angle, right forearm to right thigh, left arm up and overhead. We're going to come into our bind here again, if that's possible for you, or just resting your hands where you can. I'm going to switch angles for this because we are also going to try another pose while we're here. So if you've got your bind, that's great. If you are just resting your hand on your lower spine, maybe you'd like to keep your right hand on the mat, just on your fingertips. Maybe you'd like to keep it tucked under that right thigh. However we are, we're going to start to shift our weight to our right foot. Jump that left foot in one step, and then another step so that it's close, if you can see what I'm doing. Back. Next to your right foot almost. We're going to come up onto the tippy toes of our right foot. Give everyone a second to get here because you may need to look at me following these instructions. We are going to try bird of paradise pose. It isn't something that we have to achieve a full pose of just to be able to give it a try. Even if your hands are not bound, they're just resting where you've got them. What we're going to do is start to shift the weight to the left foot. Rise up with a bent right leg. If you do have the bind, you're here. And then if you're comfortable, and if you don't have the bind, maybe you're just resting your hands. See if you can straighten that right leg, wherever you may be.
Feel free to play around with the pose. If you need to come back down forward, reposition yourself as you start to rise up with that right leg. And when you're done, we'll lower that right leg back down to the mat. Coming into a forward fold and grabbing a hold of your elbows and just letting yourself hang. Maybe you'd like your elbows to swing back and forth, left and right. You probably notice that your right shoulder feels a little bit looser than the left. Maybe wiggle your legs. Releasing those shoulders, we're very slowly gonna rise back up to standing. Bringing our hands to our heart center. We're gonna try the other side this time. So when you're ready, we're gonna inhale your arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, taking a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhaling that left leg up towards the sky once we're here. Step it forward, place it between your hands. We're opening into warrior two on the left side. So right foot, 90-degree angle. Arms windmill open. Breathing here. You've got this. We're almost there. These poses with binds or balancing can sometimes feel quite challenging, but if you don't place any judgment on yourself, then really the pose is where you take it, where your body is comfortable. Right hand shoots back down that right thigh. Left hand sweeps up and overhead, opening the chest to reverse our warrior. Holding here for a few breaths. Coming forward to extended side angle, the left forearm onto our left thigh. Right arm up and overhead, nice and long. Breathing here. 2 more breaths. And let's take that right hand, bring it to your lower spine. Yeah, left hand shoots back and under. I wasn't sure if I mixed things up. See if you can bind or placing your hands where it's comfortable for you. And once you're here, we will jump that right foot forward, maybe 1 or 2 little steps, getting it next to the left foot, and then we'll come up onto the tippy toes of that left foot. And when we're ready, as we start to rise up, really gripping into the mat with that right foot, coming into a standing pose. You may be able to straighten the leg. You may just keep it bent. Maybe if you've got your hands out, you just like to grab a hold of that knee. Again, feel free to play with it. If you'd like to put that leg back down, try getting your arms set up again. Left arm goes through and hooks onto the right hand, which is reaching behind. Shifting that weight, checking your balance. And maybe straightening that left leg. And then we'll lower the left leg down to the mat. When you're ready, forward fold, again grabbing onto our elbows. Just letting that weight pull us forward for just a little bit more of a stretch in those hamstrings. Release your elbows. Very slowly we're going to rise up, bringing our hands to our heart center. We're going to take our last vinyasa for the class today. Inhale your arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold, moving with your breath. Inhale, upward facing dog. Inhale, half lift. Step or jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, looking forward between your hands, we're going to start to shift our weight into a high plank. And then we'll lower our knees, our chest, and our chin. So we're lying on our belly here on the mat. We're going to do a couple Superman poses here. Nice long stretches. So we'll bring our arms out in front of us. Legs are nice and long. And then on our inhale, together we'll lift our legs and our arms, maybe our chest and our thighs as well, depending how we're feeling today. So you can go ahead when you're ready, inhale, lifting up. Core is engaged slightly, glutes are working hard. Arms and legs are reaching long. 2 more breaths, see if you can lift just a little bit higher. Exhale, release. Resting one of your cheeks down onto the mat. We're going to do one more of those. So when you're ready, bringing your head back to center. Arms are nice and long, stretching out in front of us. Inhale, rising up. Breathing lower here, don't hold your breath. 2 more breaths, nice and long. Reaching, see if you can lift it just a little bit further. I don't think I've got anything else left in me today. Exhale and release. This time placing the opposite cheek down on your mat. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll on over onto our spine. From here, we'll bring our knees in. Give them a nice big hug. Maybe we're rocking back side to side again. We're going to come into a recline twist. So we'll let the knees fall out to the right side first, keeping that left shoulder down on the mat. We'll open the arms to each side. If you'd like to deepen the twist here, you might like to take your right foot, hook it up over that left knee. And then we'll look out over that left shoulder if we can. If you've tried this, it's not comfortable, feel free to release your ankle. Just resting your knees up to the side at a point that's comfortable for you. Remembering that this practice is for you. Releasing that foot if you've got it hooked. We'll bring our knees back into center, giving them another hug, letting them fall out to the left side this time. Going into the version of the twist that's comfortable for you, that you feel like your body needs today, gazing out over that right shoulder. Maybe you've got your eyes closed, starting to relax. And we'll unhook that right foot if you've got it hooked. So start to bring your knees back to center. Another hug, bringing the soles of the feet together. We're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana again. Soles of the feet are pushing together. The knees are falling out to the side. You may notice that your hips feel a little bit different this time. Placing your hands wherever you'd like, maybe in your belly or your heart, or both. Maybe you can thank yourself for making the time to practice today while we're lying here as we get ready for Shavasana. And you may choose to stay here for Shavasana today. But if not, you can grab a hold of your knees with your hands, help bring them close together. Stretch those legs out, nice and long. Arms nice and long overhead. One nice big stretch. We'll bring the hands and the arms back down to our sides. Open those legs a little bit, let the feet fall out to the side. Palms are facing up. See if you can feel yourself start to melt into the mat. Your feet are relaxed. Your calves are relaxed. Your knees. You're not holding any tension in your hips. Your spine, your arms, your shoulders. Everything's relaxed, no tension. Lastly, check your forehead and your jaw. Maybe give your jaw a wiggle. See if you can release a little. Forehead. And I invite you to stay here for as long as you've got time for today. I want to thank everyone for joining me to practice. Namaste.